Everybody, this is AJ Phinn signing in here. Just letting y'all know that we're ready to do this all the time and every time. So, right now, we want to talk about nature and how nature relates to business. And also, we're going to be connecting a lot of different points to that, right? Including buying and selling. So, it's very good to understand that nature does really connect to business. It almost seems like a far understanding. Like, how does nature connect to business? In what form? For what do I need to know about nature that's going to help me in my business? I just want the grits. I just want to get down to the bread and butter. I just want the dollars to roll in. What do I need to know about nature that's going to connect me to my business and help me grow my business? Ding, ding, ding. You just hit it on the nail. You just hit that hammer on the head of the nail there. Okay? So think about it right there. Growth. It's all about growth. Nature is always growing. Nature is always striving and always coming to a sense of a renewal. In business, you need a renewal every year. You need a renewal every 3 months, every season. In business, you need a renewal, you know, every month. In business, you need a renewal every week. In business, you need a renewal every day. In business, you need a renewal every hour. In business, you need a renewal in every minute. In business, you need a renewal in every second. The truth is, you are renewing every second. So, what happens is that our initial paradigm is not really set up for business. So, what happens through, we were talking about the flight or fight response and, different aspects to the human being, right? There's different ways to look at different things. But what happens is that because we're not quite wired according to X amount of years, according to history that we have documented at this time, there's many different aspects to business and history. But what we're seeing is that there was not proper training per se. You can use the word training when we're talking about business and understanding simply about money, because money is a thing that comes from selling. It comes from business. That's where money comes from. Where does money come from? Money comes from people. So how are you going to get the money from these people? You're either going to get it from them or they're going to get the money from you. You're going to sell them or they will get you. They're going to sell you. You will be sold. Okay? It goes one way or the other. Okay? So when you're dealing with growth on a daily basis and you're understanding that it's not really tit for tat, it's not really so much of a game, it's more, you can call it a game, you can call it even fun, right? It is said that work is the highest form of play. You can call it play, okay, like we're playing chess, right? But we're still here in a certain order and a certain fashion. And when you follow that grace and understand that nature, then you're not really pushing against things so much, because it is said, don't resist the resistance, right? So there's times when nature is telling you, okay, now it's time to cool. Now it's time to, it's like if you're fighting the war in the battlefield, there's so many different tactics that are used. And, many of these tactics actually go back to really understanding one's own around nature. Okay. So you would have to know, okay, when it is not, maybe not necessarily retreating, but it's, if anything, retreating maybe to a next area, or you're almost withdrawing from the battlefield for a certain time being. So there's what we call high tide, and then you also have low tide. So what you're doing is, in a sense, is you're working with the nature. You're not fighting against the nature, you're working with it, and you're coaxing your image into creation along with nature, because nature is already here. So you cannot disturb nature's program. So you're really coaxing, right? You have to, you coax your image into creation, coax your business, what you see, your vision, into creation. You have to imagine, time and time again, there have been businesses where, yes, it looks like in reality they're working, right? But many businesses don't last. Even if they last for a certain amount of time, it's very rare to have a business that lasts for 50 to 100 years, and 200 years, 300 years, 400 years, 500 years. These are not necessarily rare occurrences in the sense of the high scope of things, because there's many business establishments around the world. However, according to a statistic, if you're breaking it down within an area, right, you're going to see that this is quite a rare factor. In truth, it is. If you're looking at rare just as a specific word, and just breaking it down and saying, okay, we're not really conveying this word in any other quotation, or trying to conceptualize this word, or try to put it into other contexts, right? At the end of the day, the percentages in business show that most businesses don't pass the first year. 90% of businesses, especially restaurant business, it doesn't happen. You can't even pass the first year. Why? Because there's just not enough faith. We're not wired for business. We're not wired for entrepreneurship. I'm sorry to say. If you study the history, this is what the history says. This is what the facts and the statistics show, that we're not wired for entrepreneurship. We're not wired to do things on our own. We're not wired to structure our own time and structure our own activities, what we're doing around that time. There's no there's no such thing as time management, There's no such thing as time management. You can only manage activities. Think about that for a second. Okay? There's no such thing as time management. You can only manage activities. Okay? So when you're working with nature and you're understanding how things work in a certain ordinance of things, and there's a certain structure, you're going to understand that nothing can be too extreme. The structure is there, yet you still have to weave in and out, because every day you're having to make a decision. You can plan, but nothing goes according to plan. So you're having to work in and out. So understanding now, in the whole arena of nature relating to business, we understand that according to the statistics, and according to the 21st century per se, people don't like the idea of selling. I don't want to talk to my friends. I don't want to tell them that this is something I'm doing. Why? I mean, I'm sorry to put you on the spot, but why? Well, I don't know if I could pull it off. I don't sell. I can't sell. Why can't you sell? I don't like selling. Why don't you like selling? I can't do it. I don't think it's something I can do. Why can't you do it? I'm scared. I'm afraid I'll mess up. Why are you afraid that you'll mess up? They're afraid that they'll mess up because they're basically afraid of failure. They don't like failure. They don't like, whether you want to call it scared, whatever. They don't like failure. They don't want to be seen as a failure. They don't want to look. They're not into it. So they're just going to stick to a program that they know that they can get done. They're going to do the same program for 20, 30 years straight. It's like a program that you take from a computer and you say, plug it in, boom, 20 years. They're just 30 years, 40 years stuck in that program, right? It doesn't work, right? Not anymore anyways. The whole job world is changing. Most jobs are going to be automated, right? So you got to think for a second and understand what's going on here. That, business is it's not that difficult. It's not that difficult. We're wanting in this one, we want to kind of get you to understand that business, anyone can do business. It's really just a choice. Okay. And not everyone will do business, not necessarily, and not necessarily everyone has to do business, but you might want to have a family member. Invest in a business. If you're not going to do a business, invest in a business or support your family member. If you have and they say they want to do a business, don't discourage them. Encourage them. Say, oh, you want to do business? That's great. You know what? Maybe I can invest in you. Even if you don't have money to invest, maybe you have a friend that wants to buy a product, whatever. Just encourage people when they're talking about entrepreneurship. It's as if somebody, people that haven't done entrepreneurship before, they don't have the track record. They come in, they tell their family, they tell their friends, I want to do this. And everyone tells them, no. I know they want to protect you. They don't want you to be plugged into this thing. They want to spend time with you. They're going to miss you. They're trying to protect you. They have good intentions at the end of the day. But sometimes it's even jealous and envy, all this stuff wrapped up. It's not necessarily from the closest ones, but sometimes it is too. It's very much a mixed up game, right? Now, understanding that we want to relate everything right back to how are we going to retrieve and not necessarily retrieve, but how do we get the money? How do we extract, I guess you could say, or excavate, right? The money from the person, right? You can't steal it from them. It doesn't work. It's not good. It doesn't work, right? You don't want to be trying to take things from them. The best way, is to sell them something. And people say, oh, I don't want to sell stuff. Even sometimes you're right. Buyers too. Oh, I don't want to buy nothing. I'm not buying nothing. If you're selling, I'm not going to buy, But, people that, if you don't understand sales is easy. Sales is simple. How do you sell? You got what you sell is you got to find out what they want. What are their pain points, right? What do they want? If you have a product that they like, how do you make that product better? And if it's a special recipe, you're not trying to change the recipe, but maybe the branding has to be better. Maybe it has to appear more colorful in the aisle. It doesn't matter. What do they want? What do they need? Right? If it's a special swimming pool, they have the yellow one. Maybe they want a blue one. It's just a choice. It's just a choice. It's just a decision. It's just a choice. It's just you can play with green for 3 months and then you try blue. It doesn't matter, right? But there's businesses out there. They put out a specialty and they have it out there for 6 months and you can buy it and then all of a sudden it's gone and people are like, why is it gone? But the thing is that the numbers show that not enough people like that, or there's another extreme to it is that it's almost like a special thing where they don't want you to, they want it to be special. So when they bring it in, sometimes they could charge more. Or sometimes they don't charge more, but they just like it to be a specialty product. And they kind of want you to be on the edge of your seat almost for when that product arrives again, right? So they'll be like, oh yeah, the chocolate one, man, it's there, man. You got to get it while it's there, man. So what it does is it creates hype. It creates, you see what I'm saying? So that's what business is about. Selling, hype, marketing, hype, marketing, this, selling, right? So you got to have some hype. You got to have some commercialism. You're going to have some advertisement. You're going to have some form of capitalism, because you're going to have to gain from that. You're going to have to take that money and put it back in. You see what I'm saying, right? So that's why, that's what, if you understand capitalism from a different level, and if you work with capitalism, it's not even capitalism, just being capitalists, or just being, it's just really money, using capital, whether it's a currency, whether it's gold, whether it's the commodity, it's an exchange, right? It comes down to an exchange at the end of the day, because it's just a value exchange. So if I can give value to this person, maybe they're going to give value to me. So if I might have to give them value in the sense of a dollar bill, but sometimes it's value in the sense of communicating with them and, giving them what we have to offer. Okay. So if you have the same thing to offer them, right, which is advice, but it's advice about a different subject, you can exchange. And so that's nature. Right? It's an exchange. It's always an exchange, right? You breathe out the carbon dioxide. The trees take that in and they give you oxygen. So you need to go in nature, because sometimes nature is the best thing you need, even physically. It's a stressful day. Sometimes it's not bad stress. It's good stress, but you need to take a break. You go into the nature, you relax, you unwind, you breathe, right? So understanding, going to selling, business is all about relationships. It's really not a big deal. When you understand it on a profound level, what you're doing is you're working with others and you're creating and building relationships. This was a very normal thing that we used to do as human beings a lot more before, is we would have something to offer. We'd have at least we would have it's the truth, check out the statistics. I mean, if you go in the history and you go far enough, you're going to see, if anything, it would be agriculture, right? Something, right? So you have something to offer, something to sell, right? And you don't have to be the greatest salesman. I know you could be, oh yes, these are the greatest potatoes, these are the greatest onions, these are the greatest tomatoes. But that's not necessarily the way of how you do it. I mean, of course, you stand by your tomatoes. These are the best tomatoes, of course, right? And we're not saying that you can't say that. There's a way of almost saying that you have the best tomatoes without saying it, or you can say it and it's kind of subtle, or you can even say it and you're very loud about it. But what have you done before you've done that? You've built some kind of rapport at least, right? And I'm not saying that you have to give away all these freebie samples, although you might give a sample and say, oh, try a tomato. Man, we have the best tomatoes, and you got to try one. I guarantee, look, let me tell you where you could say, I guarantee you try one of those tomatoes and you're going home with a dozen, right? By the end of that, he takes 2 or even 4 dozen, okay, home with him, because the tomatoes are so good. You're so confident, right? You're displaying this confidence that these are the best tomatoes. You're so confident that these are the best tomatoes that you're willing to give him a sample. Guess how the customer feels. Guess how the customer feels now. The customer feels taken care of. The customer feels like, wow, he's so confident that he's not only gonna give me a sample, but he's not gonna stop or hesitate from explaining to me that these are the best tomatoes. And by the end of it, I'm gone home with 4 bags of tomatoes. Right? So what did he really sell and prod? And oh yeah, I mean, he did say these are the best tomatoes, but what he did is he gave the sample, And maybe he had a little convo. He probably had a little conversation. A lot of times that's what the little witty banter back and forth. It's very, but it's not even that he's really selling or pushing. He's selling. He is selling. He's completely selling. He's definitely selling. But what he's really doing is he's working with his senses. Okay? He's working with his human faculties to bring about a sale. Okay? And he's using his resources. His resources are his skills of relationship building. That's his number one skill. And it's so easy to him because he has experience. It's so easy to him because he's displaying confidence. It's so easy to him because he has everything wrapped up in a ball and no one's going to stop him from selling his tomatoes. He's making that money. So when you connect nature to business and you understand about buying and selling, and you even wrap your head around taking a break from not just buying, but looking into selling a little bit more. Take a break from buying. Okay? Take a break from buying. Sometimes you got to take a break from selling and, work, do some buying. Buying is good too. You buy some good stuff and, stuff that you need, right? But the thing is, stuff you want, for sure. Stuff that you want is very important too. But take a break from buying sometimes. Quit being a consumer and think about being a producer. Think about producing something that can give you a residual income. This is what business entrepreneurs are doing, thought leaders. We're putting things out there and, what we want to do, and we're giving you gems, and we're saying, okay, you know what? Instead of working, 40 years in a row, why don't you work on a big project? I know it might seem arduous and long and grueling and, it takes time and, it's time consuming and, right? But why don't you just work on it? Why don't you just start? Just start. Because if you work on something and you put it out in the marketplace, okay? You work on something and you put it out in the marketplace, right? It could just be that thing that rings in the big bucks and gives you a residual income, and you're always referring to it's natural. This is your duty. This is your calling. Success is your calling. This is your duty. It's not a big deal. Okay? Right? That's why we always we're always talking about taking any kind of finances and reinvesting it in yourself, reinvesting it in your education, reinvesting it in your business. It's the only way you're ever going to grow. And remember, that's what we're talking about. We're talking about growth. So we're connecting nature to growth, and we're talking about buying and selling. And we're thinking about taking a little break from buying and working on selling even just a little bit. Right? So put something out into the marketplace, because this is the way things are going. As time goes on, a lot of jobs are becoming more and more automated. Robots are, we don't need, people to do some of these menial tasks anymore. So what you want to do is, even give just a thought to business, and don't even look at this whole thing. Oh, I'm starting a business and it's this big thing, and I don't know if I'm going to do business, or why are you discouraging other people that want to do business? Think about it for a second. If you don't want to do business right now, or you don't want to do business at all, you really think business is not for you, invest. If you don't want to invest, encourage. You can still, encouraging is still investing. And obviously you don't want to encourage people on something that's really not credible or it doesn't make sense at all. But at the same time, it's good to not only have compassion, but to also look a little bit deeper and, see yourself, even try and even remember yourself. There's time when you had a business idea and you really wanted to go for it and someone put you down. Okay, so instead of putting people down when they're talking about entrepreneurship, think about pushing them, think about encouraging them, think about investing them. Whether you invest in them financially or some other different way, just work it out, right? So this is AJ Phinn, giving you guys some good advice, and good substance, right? This is information that I've gathered, and we here at QLP and Quantum Leap Professionals, Team AJP, and we've been gathering this information, over years, and different resources, and thought leaders, and professionals, and business entrepreneur leaders, and right, this is the stuff that you want to use to catapult yourself. I would take this tape and listen to it over and over. Repetition is the first law of learning. Okay, I would take this tape and if you have it in your car, just listen to it over and over, and see if you see some changes. I would listen to this tape for 30 days in a row. I challenge you. I'm giving you a challenge right now. Listen to this tape. It's not something to glorify. Oh, AJ Phinn. No, listen to this tape for 30 days in a row and see what happens. Okay, because this is information that, personally, I've read many books, and there's a lot of gems here, okay, that you can use in your business, or you can use in your life, and you're going to skyrocket. Okay? So think about buying and selling. Think about business and how it connects to nature. Think about going for the sale. Think about trying sales. Think about selling. I know sometimes you want to take a break from even the family member. You don't even want to hear about their negativity, but if it's sometimes you just have to sell them on something simple, right? We're all going on a vacation, we got to do this vacation. It's good for us, right? So you sell the family on, let's take a vacation, right? So that's small stuff, right? But there's right? You want to be the seller, something to sell stuff. You know what I mean? Sell your way in the door, and get your foot in the door, make it happen, right? Because this is for you, right? And you're building something for you, and maybe you want to think about building something that's going to last. It's a legacy, okay? And you're building a fortune. Even you could be working full-time right now if you are working a regular 9 to 5, and part-time working on your fortune. Think about after 5 p.m. because even in business, because, right now, we're talking, this is nice. This is a nice conversation. This is a nice, this is a book out of AJ Phinn and a book out of AJ Phinn's mentors, But when we're gritty, we're in the business, sometimes we'll laugh about those guys, but we're laughing, but we're serious at the same time. We call them the 5 o'clock people, As soon as 5 o'clock comes, they're done. The day's done. I don't care. I've been here. I've clocked in. I'm clocking out. And that's just an attitude. And of course, there's different companies that run things in different ways, but, don't have that attitude. Don't have an apathy for success. Don't have an apathy for even failure. Let yourself fail. Let yourself succeed after the failure. Let yourself succeed. Let yourself fail. Let yourself fail. Let yourself succeed. Let yourself succeed again. Let yourself succeed again. Let yourself fail. Let yourself succeed again. And succeed again, and succeed again. Right? But if you don't go for it, you're never going to succeed. You're always going to be held back by someone else's opinions. You're not letting it work. You're holding yourself back from your own dream, and it just really becomes a pity, and it's just, you're not moving ahead, and it's not necessarily a bad thing in the sense of maybe it's just going to take a little bit more time, but if you can move faster, then why not do it? Right? Because you can move faster by just trying a little bit of these tools. You listen to this tape, 30 days in a row, bam, something changes. I don't know what happened, but I was listening to this tape. How'd you change this? How'd you make this stuff happen? What did you do to get where you're at now? I don't know. I was listening to this tape, right, and some others, right? Because I highly recommend, go out and find your mentors, find the people that work for you, find those mentors, and anything that you can pick up that relates to you and you can connect with. I would be immersing myself in that information and really picking up those gems and really gathering those resources and making it happen. It's all about making it happen. You got to execute. We're here, AJ Phinn, signing out. We'll talk to y'all soon.